All right, we are live. Let me shut this down before it starts. There we go. Hey, Doug.
Hey, Deb.
Hey, everybody out there on YouTube. It's nice to see you. We are live on the nSights DeFi Trader channel. And Doug, you and I were just talking about the Bitcoin halving that's happening today.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. That's what we came on and talked about 2 days ago. I then went out and did just a little video about, because I thought we probably had some listeners that didn't understand or had never heard of the halving, and didn't understand what it was. So I
hmm
put together a silly little video using some AI tools. Guys, understand you're going to see some things with watermarks maybe out on our YouTube channel because I'm testing out a bunch of different products. I don't want to pay to remove the watermarks if I'm not going to use the tool long term. So
hmm
anyway, but I'm really excited because tonight at 6 o'clock Eastern, nope, 6 o'clock Pacific, three
Yes.
o'clock, 9 o'clock Eastern, the halving is supposed to happen. Now, guys, it's an estimate. This is why
Right.
we were saying it's going to happen sometime around the 20th. For years, it'll happen in April 2024. It's an estimate. But they're estimating now 9 o'clock tonight, Eastern time. So, Doug, what do you expect to see at 9 o'clock tonight, Eastern time?
Well, the going into this, the miners have already been selling. And the reason the miners are selling is because the halving is happening. So to understand the halving, right, the cost to mine a Bitcoin is going to increase. That's what the halving does, right? And because it increases, it becomes harder to mine. And the mining then, the whole halving then causes Bitcoin to be more scarce. There's less Bitcoin mined. So there's a reduction of Bitcoin in the marketplace. So, supply and demand comes into play. And so that's why the Bitcoin goes up. But the miners sell off going into it because they need to capitalize on the Bitcoin they have at a great price, and that's what they do. And then they can go out and buy newer equipment,
Equipment, sure.
invest things so that they're more competitive now going in after the halving to continue to mine Bitcoin. If they don't, then it's hard for them to stay competitive. But the interesting thing that you were talking about, Deb, was there was a whale that woke up.
Yes,
And so why
like
don't you
four
share
days
that?
ago.
Yeah, why don't you share that story a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. About 4 days ago, a wallet belonging to a whale from the Satoshi days. So this goes back in fact, it goes back to April 2010 when this person was mining Bitcoin and they got 50 Bitcoin and they've held it in a wallet. It's never moved. It's never done a thing. And 4 days ago, it woke up and moved. I don't know if they moved all 50 Bitcoin. I think they moved it over to Coinbase.
Oh,
So
wow.
they're planning to do something with it. It's fun to see old wallets wake up.
hmm Well, you made a comment to me though. You said, "Well, what if they sell it all off? It's going to create havoc and drive the market down." And we talked about we're in a different era, right? We're in a time where now we have players like BlackRock. We see that Michael Saylor just sold off a bunch of his stock in his company, $372 million worth, and so this is a whole different world than our last halving, right? If he had done that in the last halving, I think you're right that we would have had some chaos. Maybe the market would have dropped some, which is okay with you and I and the rest of the people that trade with us, right? Because we like the big dips where we can get a better value. But the odds of us seeing something like that today, unless it was a massive, massive sell off, and I don't think we're going to see that, could happen. It's trading. Um, we have different players, BlackRock and people like that. We talked about that on Wednesday. Um, you know, eh, they're gonna soak up that difference that wouldn't have happened in the past. So yeah, I think we're in a different time,
Yeah.
and I still think will see the move up Now this could be really interesting going into this. In the last halvings where we had some pretty massive moves up, it's because what I just said, it becomes harder to mine Bitcoin. There's less Bitcoin in the market. Supply
Scarce.
and demand drives the market up. Well, we think of this now, think about supply and demand when we have new players. So now not only is Bitcoin going to become more expensive to mine, the scarcity of Bitcoin is going to become greater. The demand by the bigger players is going to become greater. I think there's, again, we have, it's always trading. I've been trading over 20 years. So, sometimes you absolutely think X is going to happen and X doesn't happen, Y happens. So, you just have to watch the market, but you still have to try to line up the indicators. You have to line up the signals, and I think they're pretty well defined now.
Yeah, as exciting as it was when BlackRock got involved, and as exciting as it was to know that then everybody would be able to participate in crypto through their regular stock, right? I mean,
Right.
as exciting as that was, Doug, I feel like we are at that point now where we're stopping out the little guy. You
True.
know what I mean? Like you can still get it, obviously, you can still get it, but are we going to be able to see as many average everyday people becoming super wealthy on their Bitcoin purchases?
Not Probably not their Bitcoin, even though, and we talked about this on Wednesday, you want Bitcoin to go back down to $6,000.
Yes,
That's
please.
that's your number, right?
600 would be great, but I'll take 6,000.
Yeah, 600. Anything under 10, we're all good, right?
Yes, yes.
Even if it's for one day, so we can all buy a bunch of Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's not going to happen, right? At least high probability it's not going to happen. Uh, but we talked about when Bitcoin is $1 million, if Michael Saylor and others are right that we go to that million plus, then 60,000, 50,000, 70,000 range is going to feel like 6,000, because
Yeah.
and we'll be at 1 million and we'll go, gosh, I just wish it would go back to 60,000. But not a lot of people have 60, 70 grand laying around to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
There's
But
thousands of coins coming out every
sure.
week.
And yeah,
And so the opportunity in crypto is still there. And Deb, I talked to you a little bit. I'm writing a new book, and I'm going to try to have it as a giveaway for everybody so they can understand. But I did a correlation between trading forex, which I did for years, and crypto trading, right? And everybody thinks about leverage trading in crypto and what a gift that is and how exciting that is. It's really a trap, and I teach that and we talk about that. But you look at, I did the example of what the US dollar was worth in 2009 when Bitcoin came out, and what Bitcoin was worth, many zeros and an eight, right, is what it launched at. When it really became kind of available to the public and people were excited, it was 8 cents, right? So it was either fractions of a penny or 8 cents, whichever way you want to look at it, I don't care. The dollar from 2009, $1 today, it would take $1.45. And I'm not even sure they're calculating this year's inflation. I mean, go to Costco, a basket of groceries used to cost me $150. Now it costs me almost $400, right? So I'm not sure that they're calculating exactly right, but using the numbers that everybody uses, a dollar today would cost you $1.45 to be equal to $1 2009. A Bitcoin that was 8 cents is worth 60 grand today. So the dollar didn't go from $1 to 60,000. It went the other way. It went down. So when we think about, the advantages of crypto, and your question to circle back around, can people make it in Bitcoin? I don't. I think some will. I think we'll accumulate because the market will continue to go up and down. In our model and insights and stuff, we work those cycles to accumulate.
Yes.
So yeah, there'll be some people that accumulate a quarter, a half, or maybe even one Bitcoin, and they'll make a $500,000 or $1 million. Sure. But the real opportunities are going to be in some of the tokens that are coming out, like the company we're involved with, Otherverse, is going to have its token. It's a metaverse company, right? And Brian Schuster owns a majority of the patents that are going to allow the metaverse to work, and we're very involved in that token. And so there's going to be other tokens that have exponentially more potential upside than Bitcoin at this point. But Bitcoin, the importance of Bitcoin is the establishment of the
Mm,
crypto market,
yeah.
right? It gives legitimacy to what we're doing. So why we may not make as big a gains in Bitcoin as we did in the past, or if we bought it when it was 8 cents, there's others that we can buy at 8 cents that could become worth maybe not $1 million, but maybe tens of thousands of dollars and have huge upside potential. So yeah, there's still massive, massive opportunity in this market compared to things like Forex. Dollar will never become worth $100,000. But some coin that you get involved in, maybe Otherverse or something like Otherverse, could become worth, $50,000, $60,000. Who knows? It's that possibility that exists in this market. And that's why some of our traders well, I won't say who, but like some of our traders that are making over 800% returns in trading crypto unleveraged, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
And
so
that's
less risk.
And that's not just on new coins coming out and thinking that you're going to get in at the beginning. That is 100% on accumulation, right?
Right.
On trading, buying a coin, selling in profit, buying it again when it goes back down, using our pullback grids or our dynamic grids. One thing that comes to mind though, Doug, when you talked about this is that it's a good time to remind people how many coins are released every single day
Right.
that have no utility behind them
Right.
and are not a solid coin and not one that you should jump into thinking or hearing that, ooh, this is gonna 100x or this is gonna
Yeah.
300x today.
Right.
Um, a lot of those end up being honeypots.
Right.
So just a
Perhaps.
reminder to people, if you go to honeypot.io and enter the coin that you're tracking, the contract number in, you'll be able to see whether or not it's a honeypot. So what a honeypot is when you buy the token and then you go to sell it and it won't sell. And what these scammers do is they allow you to sell a little bit. You test it, you sell a little bit, and you get that confidence that it's going to be a great coin. And as it runs, you can't sell anymore. So just a reminder, always, always, always be careful. And I say this, Doug, whenever
Hmm.
I tell people to be careful of the scammers in crypto, I want to remind people of how many phone calls you get of somebody trying to get into your bank account, how
Right.
many times your Visa, your cards are trying to be stolen. It is the financial industry that, people want your money. So, scam does not equal crypto, right?
Right.
Scammers get into all of your financial stuff. So you got to be careful
Yeah.
of it.
Well, and crypto's no different than any other investment area. You have to do your due diligence, and it's some of the new coins that are coming out, Deb, are a lot like the penny stocks that people play with or used to trade in and stuff. Um, Not very many of the penny stocks become an Apple or an Amazon, right? But those do happen. So utility, you said utility, what is that utility? What is the coin? What is the project trying to do? Who are the developers behind the project? What experiences do they have both in the crypto space and business space? Do they have the backgrounds to make things happen? So the more you do your research, the better off you are in anything. And this is no different, right? And yes, there's scammers everywhere trying to get to your money. And so just be smart, or be part of a community that, works together, and maybe that helps shield you from some risks. So there's all kinds of things. But let's look in. I'm going to open up nSights here, and let's look at just a little bit, and then we'll call it a call here. But I do, for our traders, I want to kind of go through a little bit with them, because we've been going through stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And now's a really good time to remind everybody that we're not financial advisors, and
Right.
past performance is never a guarantee of future results. And please do your own research. All kinds of trading is a risk, and you want to make sure you're not spending your mortgage or food money on trading.
Right. Right. Great, Deb. Thank you for doing that. For all of you that trade with us and our pullback trades, and for you guys that don't trade with us, uh, both our pullback trades and our dynamic grids are dynamic with the market. They move with the market. They shift with the market. And there's a lot here. If you want to know more, we have a lot of YouTubes and videos out there for everybody. For everybody, you guys that have been on the classes and stuff, you know that I move most of my trades all to conservative, right? Going into the halving. And because if we knew anything about the past, I knew that the market had a potential to have a sell off a little bit because of what the miners were doing. So we moved all to conservative on this little trade account that I teach you guys in. But two of the things I want to look at, I want to look at Bitcoin here real quick. I'm going to pull it up. And I'm going to see that I still have my cost averaging on in Bitcoin. I turned it off in some of the others because I wanted to manually do the cost averaging. And I can see that there's really no room. It's doing the accumulation. It's adding trades. It has pending trades, doing everything that it's supposed to do. I'm hoping that I get a couple more pending trades. I hope sometimes the market will dip a little bit after the halving. I'm hoping that happens and I get a couple more buys in here before the market takes off. We'll see what happens. But my biggest thing I can look at here is that I don't have enough down room here to do a manual cost average or to add to the trade. They're too close. I'm only 2.38% down with my current cost averaging. And if I click on this and we look at it, I'll just look at it real quick here. We'll go up and we can see that the last two cost averages were right near the bottom. It did a beautiful job doing those cost averages for us. And I look at it. So we need it to dip below here, which it might after the halving. And I might be able to get those additional auto cost averages that I still have turned on. So, so far everything's looking beautiful. Trades are looking great. Love where I'm at. So, all right, let's look at Injective, which is a little bit different, right? It's having a different experience than Bitcoin is right now. And I do have a trade here. So I have one trade here that's still cost average fairly high. I turned off the auto cost averages and I can manually now handle this cost average, and I'm going to do this one right here. I can see that this one has the three cost averages. The black dots are the cost averages. It's moved it down really, really nice in comparison to where it is in the market. So this one moves up at all. It'll close out all of these in some really nice profit. But I do want to handle this one here. Okay. And we'll do that real quickly so you can see how to do that. I think it's this one right here. I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to go here, click on the eyeball. It's going to bring me up. And yes, it highlights that yellow for me to show me that that's the trade I'm dealing with. And there it is. So I'm going to try to cost average it down here. Now, it's not really deep. It would have been better to cost average, down here, but here's what it is. It's just trading, and that's what we do. So I'm going to go in here to Injective. Here it is. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add a manual cost average. Okay. I'm going to click on that. My other option was to turn on auto cost averaging if I wanted to do that, which just would have been turning this back on here and turning it back onto auto cost averaging. And that would have cost averaged it somewhere around where we are. Again, it'll look for volume to do that, but I'm going to force it to auto cost average here. Turn this off. Let me make sure it didn't execute. It might have executed for
Yeah, it
us.
might have. Just while he's checking that, just to make sure, just so that everybody knows, our cost averaging is not dollar cost averaging, right? It's where you set up to have on a specific day, a specific time, just a certain amount of money that buys trades for you. Ours is weighted and it's on your settings. So if you wanted to wait until there was a 20% drop in the market before it takes a trade, you can tell it, and it just adds to the existing trade, right? So that drops, you're buying at a lower price, you're getting more tokens, it drops that original um, um, price of where you are going to get out in profit, it drops that down with your cost average. So manual trade, he's actually adding a trade to an existing trade. It's the same thing as cost average, doing the auto cost average. It's just that he's doing it manually this time.
Yeah.
And I see you're putting more BUSD in because you're low in the market.
I'm low in the market, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper, right? A little bit more money to bring it down. I could do it at current market, or I could set a custom price. If I wanted it to come deeper, I could set that price where I want it to come. I'm just going to do it at current market here. And I'm going to enter in my 2FA. And Deb, would you
I was
know,
going to ask you if you had your
I
phone near
don't
you.
have, we went, oh my goodness, we went shopping this morning and I don't have my phone with me. Oh my goodness. Oh folks, I apologize. I don't have my phone. Oh my goodness.
Is it handy?
Oh
I could talk about something else while you grab
yeah,
it.
yeah, let me grab it real quick.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. So Doug is putting 100 BUSD on this pledge where I should have looked, his trades before, I think he's trading $50 per line on this grid. So because he's deeper, he's buying actually $100 worth of tokens at this deeper price where his original trade is $50. So this is what I'm talking about with the weighted cost average. Now it's going to bring that cost average down much further than if he were just to buy an additional $50 or even just put a little more money on it, right? A lot of people do that. The price drops and they say, well, I'll just put another $20 on this $75 trade. Well, you're down in the market so much. You can buy so many more tokens for your money. That $20 might buy the same, depending on where you are, might buy the same amount as your original $50 trade did. But being able to put a little bit more when it's deep is a really good strategy. Of course, what you don't want to do is assume that this is as deep as it's going to go and go all in here, right? You always want to leave a little extra so that as the price continues to drop, you can continue to add to that trade to bring that cost average down.
Deb, good job. Thank you. All right. So we do 2FAs on everything, or you can set it up in the system for all of you guys that
Right,
know.
it's defaulted to withdrawals, so you can't withdraw anything from your account. By the way, your money is in your mid wallet tied to your external MetaMask wallet. So you're the only one who has access to it through your MetaMask wallet. But withdraw is everybody on login and withdraw. Everybody is set up to 2FA, but then on every task that you do inside, you can set up to have another 2FA so that people can't come in and trade your money, right?
Right. So we just did the 2FA. It's going through. It's going out to the blockchain. Successful here. Okay. I'll go back down to injective here. That one that was 30% now is 19. And we can click on the injective here. Let's go to the eyeball. And here it is, eyeball. That dropped it all the way down to here. So nice drop. Get it where we can see it.
Doug, go ahead and click
there's where the cost average took place right there.
Go ahead and click on that green, the cost average that you just dropped. Let's look at that in your, there it is. There's your
right
trade.
there.
And then, yeah, let's open it up to see all the trades that you have attached to that one.
Yeah, and I want to show everybody what I did too. Is that I wanted to put some of these trades in a cycle trader, which is a whole different system. So I actually moved some of the cost averages off into our cycle trader, which is a whole nother talk, but it's here and it accumulates differently. And so we've got a couple of them that are working, one that's done, other one done, and the others are done and been archived. I wanted to take a quick look at that, but the cycle trader is working really good, and the limit order system is also doing the same thing. I've got some that are we're accumulating deeper that are working, and then some that have already completed. So yeah, the system is doing exactly what I want it to do, and that cost average just moved it into a much better place for if we get that little bump up. We're going to go down maybe a little bit after the halving, but not long after we start getting that bump up. So these deeper accumulations have a great chance of really reaping some profit for us.
Yeah. And I like that, Doug. I like that you just added a trade for $100. But prior to that, you had moved cost average trades of 150 total, 3 trades of $50 that were taken kind of higher up in the market.
Right.
You just moved them over to trades to just trade out, or actually you did a cycle order to do some fun stuff over there, trade out in profit, maybe accumulate some more if the market drops.
Right.
I love that we can do that. It allowed your cost average right? Your cost average to actually go down quite a bit more because you moved that 150 off to do something else.
Yeah, it allowed me to stay more current to the market, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't allow that weighted cost average to be too high in the market, but it still allowed me to take those coins, isolate them, and deal with them in a completely different trade manner. So super exciting.
And that's an example of why I say nSights is a trader's dream, right? The tools that we have that have been built into nSights are incredible.
Yeah. Well, they're everything that I wanted back when I was doing Forex, right? So, so it's just like it gives us the ability to really manage the money the way that we want to manage it. And we're not locked into first in, first out and any of that kind of stuff. We're in complete control of our trade lives, which is, it's really fun, and it makes it a lot easier to make money. So,
yeah,
well, Deb.
Sure. All right. Yeah, that was great, Doug. I enjoyed talking to you about the halving that's happening tonight. And I enjoyed watching you work your trades. I always learn a little bit more every time I see you running around inside the system. And I appreciate the training that you give. And I'm excited to keep doing this, Doug.
Yeah, I love doing this, and I hope everybody gets something out of it. If you like this, please comment below. Tell us what you think, what you like, and if you have something you'd like us to talk about in nSights and what we do, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll make it on one of our calls.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doug. We'll see you the next